Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Beth. I go by the username Be More Creative both here on FlossTube and on Instagram. So I have been stitching for a few years now. I don't even know when I started stitching. But yeah, I really have loved the past few years stitching, and I've changed my style quite a lot. So I'm going to be going through my WIP collection. Now, one of the things, this kind of is kicking off 2025 for me. January was a little bit of a write-off because I moved and started my new job in January, so things were like boxed up. I had to pack up things, so there are a few WIPs that just had barely got started, or I knew I wasn't going to stitch on. But I only UFO'd like 2 WIPs, I think. One of which only had 3 stitches in it, so I can't even remember how many WIPs I have. I haven't even done a tally of finishes. I think when I last counted it was in November and I had 78 finishes, but then I know I finished a number of things November, December, so I probably had about 80 odd finishes last year. And if you would like to see a finish parade, let me know, because everything is still boxed up. I haven't unboxed any of my finishes yet because I haven't really had the space or the furniture in order to display stuff. So I am starting to get things out and about a little bit more now. But it is still full work in progress. As you can see, everything is like, every counter space has got stuff on it until I can work out how I want to store stuff. But one of the things that I have done this past week, because it has been half term, is I got all of my WIPs out of the boxes. Now this shelf here is WIPs, this one here is WIPs, this is WIPs up until here, and then these are empty waiting for projects. So I'm going to jump straight in. I'm going to be pulling stuff off the shelves and we are going to have a look and see what WIPs I have. Okay, so I really hope you enjoy this and I'll be back in just a second. So there is no time order into these WIPs at all. They're not organised by my oldest WIP to my newest WIP, in no means whatsoever. What I have got is I've got a lot of these home cases from Canny Little Fox, and I do want to get a few more. I definitely need to get an Easter themed one because I have a few projects that are Easter themed. A lot of mine are in these. You'll see I have got a few projects that are still in the bigger bags. I need to get proper bags for them. I know I have a few here, but these are for my new starts that I want to do this year at some point. So the first one here, this is in this gorgeous Canny Little Fox bag, and this actually isn't a WIP. This is a new start. I haven't put any stitches into this at all, but I literally have everything kitted up. So this is Log Cabin Christmas. This is, was it last year or the year before? I got mine from Peakside Needleworks and I got mine all kitted up. I've got the fabric in here as well that I'm going to use, and I've got all the charts, all the threads all ready to go. So the first one actually isn't even a WIP. But what I do is, if I know that I really want to get round to something, this is one of my treat yourself new start pieces that I want to get done. But I know if I unkit it, it just won't get done. So that's why that was in there. The next project, this is a few years old, but I have barely stitched on this at all. I think I did one afternoon and I literally started it just before the Dark Queen of the Earth came out, and I wanted to do that stitch along. Little secret, never finished it, or haven't finished it yet. This is Autumn Lane Stitchery's Dark Queen of the Seas Sow. This was the first one they did. And sorry, I am going to be putting things away because otherwise this is going to end up in a gigantic mess. And I will show you how far I got on that. This is stitched on the called for fabric, which is Bewitched, and I've got a 28 count Lugana. And where is my stitching? You'll see that is all I've got. Part of a little fishy. So I ended up putting this one away, and I am going to come back to it. That is 100% happening because I do want to stitch these. I'm pretty sure all of the WIPs that I still have here are ones that I want to stitch, because I did take the effort to move them, but I'm not 100% sure when or how they're going to get stitched. We've got another canny little fox home case, and this one is Come On In by Kathy Barrack. And this one I have done a colour conversion and a thread conversion to the Ecofita threads, and I'm stitching this on a coffee craft fabric. It's a 28 count, and that is how far I've got so far on that one. So I have to say, a lot of these, like this one I started last year, and last year I kind of was squirreling around projects. I would start something, get bored, or not necessarily get bored of it, but just see something else and want to stitch something else, and then jump to that. I have another canny little fox project bag, and this is Boffy Threads London. This is a piece that I am hopefully going to be stitching for my sister when it is eventually done. And this one I actually have started twice. So I started this originally on the original fabric that came with it, but I hated the Ada that was in the kit. I really didn't like it. It's very crunchy and I just wasn't enjoying it. So I restarted it on an 18 count chromatic alchemy piece, and I doubt you are even going to be able to see it because the white does not show up. So I'm trying to debate what to do with this one, because this fabric that I'm currently working on is not going to work because the white doesn't show up on it. Now I do have a decent start on the other fabric, so I am wondering if I just go back to doing it on the original call for fabric and just put up with the crunchiness, or what I'm going to do. So this one's kind of in a little bit of a timeout because I'm trying to work out what to do with the fabric. Do I pick another fabric to do it on? Because as I showed in the photo, this piece is pretty much full coverage. The only stuff not stitched is the sky at the top. So this is where I'm like, do I start it on another piece of fabric on a colour that that white will show up on? Because the white that I'm doing is the white of the train at the bottom. So I'm like, do I start it again, do a third time start on this piece on a fabric where the white shows up, but it's a fabric that I enjoy stitching, or do I just suck it up and stitch on the crunchy Ada and just try and get it done? So let me know what your thoughts would be on this one. Would you restart it on a new piece of fabric that you enjoy stitching on, or would you go back to the original Ada piece and just get it stitched? Let me know, because I'd be really interested to know. I really would like to be able to get this one done, but I just don't know what to do with that one. Right, the next one I have is also in a canny little fox. And this one, I'm not sure if I have a photo. I don't have a photo of this one, so I will have to try and find a photo. It is called Let It Snow. And I am doing this 1/1 on, I don't know if it's a 28 count or a 25 count. I cannot remember, but it's on Vintage Country Mocha, and I'm doing it 1/1. And I really don't know why this one is not done. I think I just got too distracted with other projects, because yeah, I just don't know why it's not done. So That is the next one in the WIP pile. Oops, hitting myself in the face. We have another Canny Little Fox project bag, and this was one of my new starts last year. I got this at one of the Stitch festivals, and I finished the first one, so I have the fabric and everything for the rest of them. So this is Spirit of Christmas set 1 and 2 by, is it Lila Studios? I'm not entirely sure. And I have got my own conversion to paint box threads. I bought the holly and the ivy pearl thread set when I was at the Stitch Festival. Really love the colours, so I decided this was one of those projects that I pretty much decided then and there I was going to start, and I have got the first one stitched. So I've kept this in the WIP pile because I haven't done any of the others, so technically for me this is counting as a WIP, even though I count this one as a finish. I still need to get the other ones in the series done. So I've got everything kitted up, but I need to start a second one, which will be one of these ones. I'm not entirely sure which one. But I'm really not in the mood for Christmas at the moment. And I'm stitching that on Fibre on a Whim 20 count stone Ada. So we have another Christmas bag. I love this Teresa Kogut fabric. This is another Canny Little Fox bag. I love anything Teresa Kogut fabric, and this one has been on the go for a while. This is the Heirloom Christmas Stocking, and I am working on which one am I doing? Well, I started this years ago and I haven't touched it last year, but I just can't bring myself to ditch it and start the one. I really want to do the stitching room for my Christmas stocking, but I ended up starting with, why can't I find it in this book now? Hang on 1 second. I have started with the Holiday Study. So I haven't really got much of this done. I'm doing it on all of the called for, with the called for threads on the called for fabric, and this is how much I have stitched. So I would love to work on these. I'm sure if you've seen the Heirloom Christmas stockings, you will know which one I'm talking about, but this is the one that I want to do for myself, but for some reason I decided to start with the study one. I think I was just too nervous to start with the stocking that I really want to do, and now I've kind of told myself that I cannot start another one until I've at least stitched one of them. Right, I've got a pile next to me. Okay, I'm not sure. I've got a thread and I don't know where it came from, so oops. We will work that one out in a bit. The next one I have, once again, is, it's not really a WIP. I have stitched most of the ornaments in this series, but I have 2 left that I want to do. Achoo! Bless me, I do apologise. So these are the White Christmas series, and I stitched and FFO'd most of these. I think there's 9 in the series, and I've done 8. No, how many have I done? 6, 7, 8. I've done 6 of them, and I have these 2 left that I want to do. So I have the Deer Tier, and I have the Tree Farm. So I have got all of this stuff kitted up with the threads that I used originally and the fabric. I've even got a pair of scissors in here. Everything is all good to go. I just need to get those last 2 stitched. So once again, not currently an active WIP because I haven't put any stitches on these. However, I do include it in my WIPs because I want to use those threads and not have a different dye lot. And I want to make sure that I've got the same fabric without a different dye lot or anything like that. So everything is staying in the bag until I am ready to carry on with that. So this is pretty much the same situation. So I was stitching just before Christmas the Mill Hill Nutcracker series, and I think I stitched 2 of them, maybe 3 of them, but I do still have a few left. So I have got all of these in one bag still, and none of these have been started. I've got them, this is the actual Prince one, and I have everything in these bags plus bags. So in the back it's got a little back pocket, and in there I keep the perforated paper, and I also take a photocopy of the actual chart. So with the mill hits, I do like to mark them off, but I don't like to mark the original chart in case I make a mistake. I can go back and edit that, and I've still got all the beads and everything. So this is all ready to go, and then I still have the Mouse King, and I can't remember who this guy is. So I still have 2 more of those to go, but they're not actually whipped because none of them are stitched on at the moment. But once again, I keep everything in the same bag until I'm ready. So I'm going to quickly put these ones back on the shelf, and then I'm going to remove the second section and we'll go through that as well. So in the next section is just more whips, but there's also quite a few projects that I've just pulled out which I've noticed are kitted projects and not whips, so we're just going to jump straight in. This is one of the bags that I made for myself, so don't look too close at the stitching, and this is probably my oldest whip now. This is Autumn Town by Autumn Lane Stitchery, and I did this is one of the projects that I think is a little bit of a crazy project for me, because this was one of the first bigger projects that I started, and I decided to do a full colour conversion. I didn't really have a whole lot of threads at this time, and I had got a lot of the sulky threads, so I just decided to do a big sulky conversion. There is some Weeks Dye Works in there, there is some, I think there's some Gentle Arts, there's some DMC, it's a little bit of everything, but this is how far I have got on the piece, which if I show you on here, I am in this top corner here. So I really love this piece. Every time I get it out and look at it, I get really happy about it. I just need to like sit down and stitch it. This is on a Jodrell Designs fabric, which is no longer available. I believe it's called Jade Dragon, but you can't unfortunately get any of Jodrell Designs fabrics anymore, or threads. I have another one which is in a project bag that I made myself. This is Silver Creek Samplers Planting Daisies, and this is a colour conversion that I did myself with on a chromatic alchemy fabric, which I don't think you can get anymore either. And that is how far I've gotten that piece. I don't know if you can actually see that. Let me put that behind it. So not too far. Okay, the next one I have here, this is actually part of my own designs. So this is one of the designs that I have designed for a freebie. I just haven't actually finished stitching it. So I have a little section that I was playing about with. Not entirely sure what I'm going to do with this. It still has a needle in it. And then on this white piece of fabric, I have started another design, a kind of pastel Christmas design. This one actually hasn't even really been designed. I'm just kind of playing around with the stitching, but it is in the WIP pile. I'm not sure what that's going to become of it. Right, this is another one. It's in the WIP pile because I have another 3 charts that I want to stitch. This is the Loose Ferris series, and I chose 6 out of the 9 that I wanted to stitch, and this is probably, I'm not sure if this is older than Autumn Town or if Autumn Town is older. Autumn Town is definitely 100% a WIP. I haven't finished it. This one I've done 3 of the pieces. I still have 3 more to do. So I have turned this into my family sampler. I'm stitching this on a Chromatic Alchemy, I think it's June. I can't remember the count. Let me see if I can wrangle this huge piece of fabric, because this fabric is a very large piece of fabric. So I've got 3 of them stitched. I don't even know if you can see that. So I have the first one here, which I've got the letter A. The second one in the middle is the block that I have done for myself, and the third block is like the family surname block. So let me see if I can show those a little bit more in detail. So that is block number 3, and I'm sorry, none of these are ironed. The middle block and then block 1. So I still have 3 more pieces to go. This piece of fabric is huge. I should probably cut down the fabric to the size that I actually need it. But I still have patterns 4, which is this one. Number 8, which is another large house, and number 9, which is a very large bird. I still want to get those ones done, which is why it's in the WIP pile. So I'm not sure when I'm going to get those stitched up. It's not really a big priority, but it is like my second oldest piece. But as I said, I think Autumn Town is my oldest WIP still. The next one isn't actually even a WIP, it's just everything is kitted up. This is the Mani di Donna besides the sea basket, which I got from Big Stitch. I did the class for this, so I have all of the pieces. I just have it all in the bag that I was given at the class. I haven't started that one at all. Same for the second one. The second one hasn't been started, and I believe you can get this now as well. This is the Spirit's Tower by the Primitive Hair. I haven't started stitching it, but when I did the class we got everything for it, so I have everything all kitted up, and I just keep it with all my WIP so it's nice and safe. The next one is Santa Baby by It's So Emma, and I did Mrs. Claus. I got Mrs. Claus finished last year. This is a nice one because I've got all of the outline done. Let me get rid of that thread. I have got all of the outline done, so this is a fill-in project. So it could just be if I'm sat in front of the TV, or I tend to take these projects when I'm traveling. So I've got that one. The next one is the same kind of thing. It's not an active WIP at the moment. This is Jelly Bean Jubilee by With Thy Needle and by Brenda Gervais, With Thy Needle and Thread. And I have got 3 of them currently stitched. So there's one. Can't hold them up. There is number 2. And that is the third one that I have stitched. And I kind of feel like I want to pull this out. Once again, I finished the 3 that I have started stitching, but there are a lot more in the book, and I did this with my own colourway. completely my own colourway. There's a lot of Drudgery Designs threads, there's a lot of random threads that I don't even know who the dyer is. They were just completely random threads. So I have everything in here kitted up, but it's not an active current WIP, but I might need to change that because I would like to get that one finished. So I might put that one in its own pile because I might actually pull that one out. I have another one that isn't even a WIP, one stitch at a time. I saw this advertised on Facebook, and then in a group chat some people said they were going to stitch it. So I kitted it up, and I have actually kitted this up with a number of cottage garden threads. So I should probably get around to using that because that's holding up an awful lot of cottage garden threads. I think it's a gorgeous chart from La Di Da. I have a Coffee Crafts fabric in an 18 count. So I'm all ready to go. I just haven't actually started stitching it. And I do have some of these pieces kitted up and on the shelf. Now, I'm sure I've been asked this before, but why I keep, so I have a number of patterns. So this is pretty much all of my physical copy patterns are there. And some of them are kitted up with threads if I have decided to change the colours, or if I bought it with a specific colourway in mind. I do keep the threads there. But I can pull from those threads if needed because it's not fully kitted. Where there are some projects where I really want to start the project and I have everything from the go, and I kind of feel like if it's on my WIP shelf, if I am really struggling to stitch an active WIP, I pull off something that is fully kitted on the WIP shelf because I've counted it into my number of WIPs. Now, I don't care how many WIPs I have. I did struggle when I had quite a huge number of WIPs. I think it was in 2022. I had like 60 or 70 WIPs at one point, and I felt so overwhelmed because I couldn't decide what I wanted to stitch. I couldn't work it out. I probably have under 30 WIPs. I haven't counted them, but I probably have under 30 that are actual WIPs. I probably have 20 to 25. But then I do have, as you've seen, probably about 10 or 12 that are completely kitted but are not started yet. And those are quite nice because that means that I can grab from those and it doesn't change the number on my shelf, so I don't start to get overwhelmed. The next one I have is a Teresa Koga. I got this from her Patreon, Make Up Your Mind. So I started this one last year, and I started it with the last Homely House Aurifil thread box, which is an absolute gorgeous colourway. It is a bit of a mess. So I started that. This is on a Coffee Crafts Fabrics. I think it's an 18 count. And I haven't got much started on this one. That's about as far as I got. So I'm doing a complete own colourway from this one. And this was one of those ones that I started on a whim and I did one day of stitching in a holiday and I haven't gone back to it. Which is what's happened with a lot of my WIPs, is a lot of the ones from last year were started just before a holiday. It may have got like 1 or 2 days stitching, and then I fell off the bandwagon with it. I have another Canny Little Fox project bag, and this one is one that isn't even started. This is the Scarlet House Seeking Refuge, and this has been a chart I have loved for a few years. This came out in 2020. I think I picked it up in 2021. And this meant so much to me, especially during the pandemic. When the world seems to be out of control, I find a way to nurture my soul, seeking refuge with needle and thread, the angst and anxiety I no longer dread. So this has been one that originally I just had it with the threads. It felt a bit intimidating to start. I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of the meaning I associate. Like, I bought this one during the pandemic. When I'd really only started stitching during the lockdown. it was just too big for me during lockdown, but the message meant so much. And then I think I just put so much pressure on myself that I haven't actually started stitching it. But this is one that I would love to start this year. I have this kitted up with Eileen Designs threads and a fibre on a whim 18 count in stone. I do love that colourway. But I, during the lockdown, discovered Eileen Designs threads. She's a hand dyer on Etsy, and I think her threads are absolutely gorgeous. I love the colourway of them. So I have completely done a colour conversion for this chart, and this colour conversion has been that way for a few years. It's just not been started. It did manage to make its way to a proper project bag, but it hasn't actually been started yet. And that is, I think, the same for this next project. This is also a canny little fox. And this one I don't have the picture for. I have everything kitted up. This is Consider the Lilies. I will put a photo up here. This is Heartstring Samplers Consider the Lilies, which is a piece that I've looked at for many, many years. Even before I started cross-stitching, this kept coming up on my Instagram, and I really love the pattern. I would 100% be changing things because I love the design. I'm just not... I would probably take Adam and Eve off it. I'm sorry for those that really do like having Adam and Eve on things. I'm not 100%. I do like the phrase. I do like the wording. I think I'd keep that. But I'd probably take Adam and Eve off and just put some more like smaller elements in their spots. But this is kitted up. This is ready to go. This is something I want to start this year. I wanted to start it for the past 2 years. I keep calling myself out on it, and I keep saying it's too big, you've got too many WIPs, you can't do that. And I don't know why I keep doing that, because it's not fair on me. It's something I really, really want to do. I've had the DMC, I've got fabric in there. I don't even know. I ended up buying a new piece of fabric last year because I really liked, oh, it's Cream and Sugar. So I've got a 20 count fibre on a whim Cream and Sugar. I originally had it kitted with another Ada, but when I saw Cream and Sugar, I preferred that so much more. So I opted for that one and changed it, but that's another one. So another one that's not actually a WIP. I'm not doing very well with actual WIPs, am I? I have a Bags Plus bag here, and this is my Dark Queen of the Earth. She is far from finished, but she has got some more significant progress than the Dark Queen of the Seesaw. Absolutely love this. This is the called for fabric, and I don't know, I think it's something oak, but I have no idea. This is Gilded Oak, and it is 28 Lagana. So I got another 28 count Lagana, and it is Under the Seas Fabrics, and I did get the bead kit and everything from her. But I really do enjoy this piece. I just haven't stitched on it. My eyesight hasn't been too great last year. I had a lot of issues, so hopefully I can get back to that one this year. And look at how gorgeous all of those threads are. I really do love these Bag Plus bags. I have another one here, and this piece is kind of hard for me. This is what is it called? It is an Autumn Lane Stitchery piece. It is something Winter Friends, maybe. It's the Patchwork Snowman. I started this as a sow. I never finished it. I've got it in the WIP pile. I haven't stitched on it forever. This piece I was stitching, I started the sow, not this December, but last December, and it was when one of my close friends passed away. Now, she'd been ill for quite some time. We knew it was coming, but you just never prepared for it. And it was one of those pieces that every time I see this piece, I think of her. And I know she would love it, and her mum gave us these little angel remembery charms with her name on it, and my friend said I should stitch this piece. I want to do it as like a stand up, which I know is quite big, but do it as kind of a stand up and have the angel inside of it, which I think is a beautiful idea. Her mum was there when my other friend suggested it, and she was like, that would be a beautiful thing to do. But I can't bring myself yet to stitch on that piece. Now there might be a time a little bit later on where I do something like that. My other friend, she does crochet, and she was crocheting a winter blanket at the time, and we were talking about it, and she's like, no, it's not silly, it's how things go. So this piece is a WIP. No plans to stitch on it at the moment, but there may be an evening where I'm sitting there and thinking, do you know what, I'm going to bring that back out, but I'm not going to force myself to do it. I still feel guilty that I kind of started this style and then disappeared, but life happens and you've got to look after yourself. So right, let's just move on. The next piece is a lot of a happier piece. This is Modern Folk Embroidery embroidered ribbons. This is a sale that we started at Big Stitch. All the information will be down below. A lot of us picked up fabrics. I've still got my Big Stitch bandana lanyard in here. So we picked up, a lot of us were doing paint box threads, thread packs. I got the Out and Proud. I just loved those really bright colours. So out of my wheelhouse. Anyone who knows me knows that I am not bright and colourful. I like the pastels, I like the vintage colours, but I decided to really push myself with this one, and I am stitching 1/1 on this 28 counts Coffee Crafts fabric, and that is how far I've got on this. Barely anywhere. I really need to pull this one out. I was planning on getting it finished in time for next Big Stitch, and then they told me, they announced the dates for Big Stitch, and I am working. And it's one of those weekends that I am not going to be able to get out of it, which kind of demotivated me a little bit on this piece. But you know what? I would still love to get it done, and it would be really, really nice. Everything, project bag, threads, fabric, everything was picked up during Big Stitch, so it would be nice to finish it. Big Stitch. I love this bag. This is a Canny Little Fox bag. And this piece inside is a little bit embarrassing. So this is one of my freebies on the 17th. This was my birthday sampler. Not last year, the year before. And you'll see, I have not stitched it. I absolutely love the sampler. The sampler does mean a lot to me. I obviously go by the nickname Bee, so I have my little bees. This pattern here in the middle, this rainbow street of houses. When I came to YouTube, I was actually doing nail art, and one of the videos that kind of took off was a design featuring a plate from Moyu London, and I did little rainbow street houses, and I absolutely love that manicure. I've done that manicure so many times, it means the world to me, and it was the first one that really got me noticed by a few companies, and I was working with them for a while. And then I love a gingham border. Also, this was the same kind of gingham as we had in my primary school. And then I've got my bobbins and my sewing machine and stuff like that at the bottom. But I have barely stitched on this one. I wanted to start it on my birthday, so it was one of the few designs that I've put out where I didn't stitch it pre the date. Normally I stitch everything before I put it out. But this one I didn't get stitched. I only stitched on it on the day of my birthday, and I have not touched it since. That was 2 years ago, so I should probably get going on it. And this is what I got done. I got this done while getting ready to go out, so like when I was waiting, so I got my hair done, then I had to wait for it to cool. And I have a selection of different buttons. I have a French flag, I have a Union Jack flag, because obviously my parents moved to France and still live in France with my family, but we are British and I am back in the UK. So I have got those, and I've got some bees. So it is a WIP. It's just a bit of embarrassing WIP because it's one of my own designs and I haven't stitched it. So yes, I'm going to put these ones away. I'm going to grab the last few that are up here and we'll go from there. Okay, so we are down to the last few that I have on the shelf. The rest of these are empty project bags, and this one has got different designs that didn't fit on the shelf below. So next up we have a caterpillar cross stitch bag. In here there is a few different designs, but there is only one active WIP at the moment, and that is Toy Emporium, which has been on the go for about 2 years now. I just need to get it stitched. There's no excuse. But I do have other of that house series. Some of them I've stitched before, but I would like to stitch again on the 20 count. So like things like, there's a really small picture there of the little cottage. They had a gingerbread cottage. Some of these were in the kit, some of them were separate. There's a bakery. I would like to get them stitched and have them as little village scenes. The next one, I don't actually know what's in here. The next one is one that I started at Christmas this year. This is Driving Home for Christmas by Love Poppet and the Feeling Festive Advent. And I'm actually planning to stitch these all together. So I'm planning on having this as an interactive advent calendar. You'll see I haven't got very far in it at all. But basically what I would like to do is stitch this piece at the top of the fabric and stitch the border. So it would be kind of a combo of those two. And then I would have, and all I've done is stitch a few boxes out. I'm going to stitch the little advent pieces with the border individually and finish them on little pieces that on hooks, so you can turn them around and have your countdown to Christmas. So I'm stitching, for the base of it, I'm going to be stitching on a 16 count stone by Fibre on a Whim. And I have a 20 count 20 count Coffee Crafts fabric. Oh my god, my brain is not working. And that is where I'm going to be stitching all of the little pieces individually. So that is the plan, is to have this as the top piece and have the base underneath it, and then have all of these stitched individually. And I'm going to put numbers on the back. I haven't decided if I'm going to stitch numbers. I might just stick wood veneer on fabric. It depends when I get to the end if I want to stitch any more. But yes, that is the plan, is to do a interactive advent calendar with the two Love Poppets pieces. So I would love to get another Christmas bag. I could actually just use the small Christmas bag. I might do that. I might rebag this into, I did buy the other Teresa Kogut Canny Little Fox multi-pocket. I might actually use this and just put the different designs in there. Another one that is kitted up but not actually started. This is Good Intentions by Kathy Barrick, and it says, I myself am made entirely of flaws stitched together with good intentions. I absolutely love this design, and I have this kitted out with an 18 count Fibre on a Whim brown sugar, and you'll see there's different colours in there, but I am considering doing it with Bush Christmas by Cottage Garden Threads and DMC 310, and I will need to get a white as well. But yeah, not actually started, it just kitted in the bag. I then have a multi-pocket do apologise. This is a canny little fox multi-pocket bag. So I have a few that are not in use. I love the home cases, absolutely love those, and I use those especially when I'm on the go because I just lay it out in front of me, and I use it as kind of like a table placemat. It catches all my threads. I really love the style of them. But the multi-pockets are a little bit smaller. So I do have a home case here. So you'll see a home case is larger than A4. A multi-pocket I'd say is closer to a B5 size. Not sure if you can see this chunk here, chunk here. But yeah, so in here I currently have 1, 2, 3, 4 projects. And they're all Halloween themed. So the first one I have in here is Autumn Lane Stitchery Evening Stroll. This one is one that I got from the Halloween box a year or so ago. It is, I think, coming out of market soon. So I've got all of that with all of the threads, all good stuff in here. The next one I have is Fright This Way. This is, what was this? Was this a hands-on design? I don't know what this one, oh no it's not. This is Witchy Way by Caterpillar Cross Stitch. This is a Coffee Crafts 20 count fabric and I think it's absolutely gorgeous. But I am stitching with sulky threads and it is getting a bit puffy. So I'm debating on whether to change the fabric. I have got more of this fabric to use for other witch projects, other Halloween projects. But I got a little bit of stitching in, but it feels a bit bulky because I have got a huge sulky conversion. This is also tying up a lot of my sulky threads, but look how gorgeous those colours are. So I'm not sure what I'm doing with that yet. I don't know whether I'm carrying on stitching as it is or whether I am going to change the fabric because I love the threads, but sulky works really well up until an 18 count. 20 count, it gets a bit close. The next one I have is the Teresa Koga. I can't remember the name of it, but it is in the Halloween book and it is the Halloween cat. And this is stitched on 16 count Legacy, which I think is a picture of this purse. And then the last piece that I have in here, the last design I have in here is, this one is out now for the public, but when I got it, it was part of Hello from Liz Matthews' Patreon, and it is called Boo Spook Haunt. And I am doing this on an unknown fabric. I can't remember what this is. But you can see I've got the outline done. I just need to do the ghosts and the flowers in the middle. Definitely needs an iron. So yeah, that's about as far as I've got. So I have one more WIP to share with you, and that is a WIP that I have been stitching on this week. So I have it in my canny little fox bag. Now I have barely stitched this year. I started stitching in on Valentine's Day. I really did not feel up to stitching beforehand. I completely lost my stitching mojo. I kind of still have. I've really struggled to get any stitching done at all. But I am working on getting back to stitching. So I have stitched the Valentine's, it's not Valentine's Day freebie, my freebie on the 17th. That video has gone up. I did that video a little bit differently. I did that as a finishing video, so I hope you enjoyed that video. If you haven't seen it, there is a playlist listed down below which will take you to all of my FlossTube extras, which will include my freebies on the 17th video. So I have been doing that for over a year now, and I really do enjoy designing a new cross stitch for you guys and putting it up completely free. But it has been a bit of a struggle to get back to stitching. So I pulled out my New Start 4, which I did on New Year's Day. This is Never Forget by Yasmin's Made with Love, and I picked this piece because of the saying on it, never forget the difference you make. So it's an absolutely gorgeous piece. Here is a picture of what it looked like before I started stitching on it. I've been stitching a little bit each evening for the past like 4 nights. And this is what it currently looks like. So I'm currently working on the border going round. So when I picked this up, I had the green border as a tent stitch. I was so terrified this border was not going to match up. I don't know why, but I had a feeling it wasn't going to match up. So I didn't want to waste that much thread because I am doing this in my own colour conversion, using hand-dyed threads from KLT Charting, and I did realise that the thread that I had for the green border is no longer available. So I decided to do half stitches the whole way around the edge and not stitch the leaves, just do the whole way around the edge and just leave the square where the leaves would be, do a half stitch for that as well. And then that is all I did. So that was quite a lot, but that's what I did on New Year's Day. Then I came back to it recently, and this is what I've been doing this week. I have filled in, so all of it is now full cross stitch. I have been working on the flowers around the edge. I did all the flowers in one day, one evening, and then I kind of decided I got bored of doing flowers. So I am now going back and doing the fill in for the flowers, which I'm really deciding what I should do because my thread does blend in. So I'm using the Going Fishing shade, which is an absolutely gorgeous shade, and I am planning to use it on other parts in the design, and it looks like it would stand out enough. However, there is little sections in here which is pretty much the same colour as my fabric, so it's working quite nicely for the flowers. I have decided I do like it, but I may have to pull out another light blue, or depending on how much thread I have left, I may have to like just use certain parts of the skein for it. But that is what I've currently been stitching on. I'm not sure if I'm going to carry on stitching on that at the moment, or whether I'm going to go to Easter. I really am feeling pulled to go to Easter and kind of feel like maybe I should just go with what I'm being drawn to at the moment. So that is that. There was one other WIP on my WIP. If I filmed this last week, it would still be in the WIP pile, but I did manage to finish Ted from Teresa Kogut. Now you'll see, I will see if I can find a picture and I will post it up on the screen. He does normally have a fine around him. Now I was considering whether to do the fine, but then I decided that I really liked him as he was, and I might actually do him like I do the Animal Cracker series. So I am calling this a finish. I think he's absolutely gorgeous. I still have the other one to do, which is it Tina? But I haven't started her. So this is the one that I've got stitched so far. I think he's absolutely cute, and I think he would make a nice little like standing doll. So I did manage to get him off of the WIP list. So what are my plans for 2025? First plan, get back to stitching. I really need to work out how I'm going to get back to stitching. I'm just doing a little bit each day, but it is still feeling like I am forcing myself to stitch. And I am enjoying the piece that I'm stitching on. Like, I really enjoyed stitching him. And when I got a finish, I was really happy. But it's still, I had to sit myself down to stitch. I'm just finding it's a little bit too easy just to not stitch and just watch TV and be really lazy, and that is not the plan. I want to get back stitching. I find that when I do stitching, it really does improve my mood. It really does make me a lot happier, but it's like making, like that first initial getting myself to sit down and stitch, which has been the bit of an issue. So I need to work out how to get my stitching mojo back. I think I just need to work on the things that are drawing me in. I do want to work through my WIP pile, and I am trying to be really good about working on what I have already started. As you've seen, a lot of my WIP pile isn't actually WIPs. What I've been doing is, as I finished a WIP last year, rather than just taking that bag off of the shelf and putting it away, I started putting pieces that I've really wanted to stitch in those bags. Now, I have decided to keep that on for this year. I still have a few empty bags in case I start a last minute project, but I would like to stitch some of the pieces that I've wanted to stitch for so long, that I keep telling myself I can't start, because that is just me telling myself. No one else is telling me I can't start them, it is me. So I need to work that one out. I am absolutely loving designing. I've got quite a few of the freebies for the 17th designs done. I'm pretty much done for the whole year at this point. That doesn't mean what I've already designed is going to be coming out, because I might redesign something and design something I enjoy more at the time. But I do have now quite a nice little stash of designs. That is what I've been doing for the past 3 weeks, is literally just sat there designing things. And I've really enjoyed that, so I want to carry that one on. I am doing the Stitch from Stash. I really enjoyed Stitch from Stash last year. I am keeping it the same way, that anything that I am getting for design purposes does not come out of my Stitch from Stash budget. So things like I need to order some threads for some upcoming designs that I have designed myself. If it's a design I've done myself, does not come from Stitch from Stash budget. So those threads, the fabric that I've ordered, that is not coming out of the budget. If I am ordering a fabric for a design that is not my own, I am going to be taking that out of the budget this year. I am being really difficult on myself this year, trying to get myself to do finishes, because last year I did so many finishes because of that Stitch from Stash. I was like working my little butt off to get finishes and really enjoying doing it so I could then go shopping. I am going to be doing that again, except for last year I gave myself a £20 budget each month for that. I'm not going to do that this year. What I'm going to do is, I find that Stitch from Stash challenge, where I slipped up, was when I was at events, and that was like, I go to like the stitching show, the knitting and stitching show. I absolutely love that thing. I do not want to miss that. But when I was there, I started feeling guilty about buying things, because I was like, oh, I didn't get that many finishes this month, so I've only got £40. I'm not going to do that to myself. So what I'm going to do is, anything I buy on those events are going to be separate. So the Stitch from Stash budget is going to be what I can buy online. So I am only going to be using the Stitch from Stash budget to buy things online, which is not directly related to my own designs. So I have got so many pieces. I've got WIPs on the go, I've got new pieces to start, I have a whole stash of like patterns. Some of those are like digital patterns that I've printed off because I want to get them stitched. But I have so many things that I really want to stitch. So I am going to do Stitch from Stash with a 0 budget. And every time I get finished, that will carry over to the next month, and we're just going to see how it goes. Do I really care if I go over the budget? Not at all. I work hard, I don't have kids, I don't have someone who relies on my income. So if I have the money, I can treat myself to things. I'm not going to be, you can't get anything. It has reined things back in. It has made things a little bit better for me, because I am sticking to a budget now rather than just buying. So yeah, I am doing Stitch from Stash budget. I'm not going to be doing challenges at the moment, just because I think putting more pressure on myself is going to make things even more difficult to do stitching. But I really do want to get some finishing going. I really want to get stitching again. So one of the things I have really wanted to do is, I now have the space to have some decorations. to buy like a little tree and have an Easter tree, whereas before I never had the space to do that. So I really would like to get working. I've done a lot of new designs for Easter. I actually have probably in the next 3 years worth of Easter designs designed. So those are some of the designs that you'll be seeing coming up on the freebies from the 17th. I'm going to be doing some generic spring and some Easter themed ones. And I would like to, I've got loads of Easter charts. So I'm going to go through and pick out some Easter bits to stitch, because I think that will help bring my mojo back, is to actually stitch on things that I want to stitch. And as I said, I am pulling out WIPs and I am working on WIPs and getting things done. And I don't actually have that many WIPs, so I'm doing quite well. But I would like to get Autumn Town stitched this year. It would be nice if I could get that one off the list, but who knows, we'll just see how things go. Now, I've rambled on for an hour. I hope you've got some good stitching in while watching this. Please let me know what you've been stitching on. I'd love to know. And if you do like seasonal decorations, what is your favourite Easter patterns at the moment? Because I definitely am looking for some Easter things to get stitched. Right, I'm going to head off and tidy up this huge mess that is in front of me from the last pile, and I will see you all soon. Thanks for watching. Bye guys, happy stitching.